Hi guys, I hope you are all doing great. Today, let's talk about payment default. What do you do when there is a default in payment, or what do you do if you are, if you are already facing this situation, or what if you kind of, face this situation when you are doing your export business? So let me start with why this problem of payment default might occur, right? There are various scenarios in which this payment default might occur, though I always say that exports is one of the safest business anybody can do. Why? Because before you get the payment first and then you surrender the BL to your customer, which means the cargo is getting released to the customer after you get the payment, right? But still you might face payment default, and why and how does this happen? Let's cover a few things here. First thing, my friends, if you have taken some advance, if the buyer has given you some advance, 10%, 20%, whatever it is, you have that advance money with you, which you can use to cover your expenses, to even if you have to bring back your container, or even if you have to sell this container to some other buyer in the same country, because there you will have to change the BL to another company's name, you will might have to discount a bit to the other customer. There are a few scenarios that you might face, right? So if you have some advance from the customer, and but the customer is not releasing, making the balance payment to release the containers in the port, then and the customer is absconding or whatever, then you can utilize these funds to change over your cargo to somebody else or bring it back, right? So first thing, why do you actually face payment default? You might be thinking that yes, payment is before surrendering the documents. Payment is first and only then you surrender the document. But still you might face a situation in a case where customer is not picking your calls. Customer placed the order with you. You prepared the shipment. Until then he was in contact. But at the last moment he is now not reachable. His phone is not reachable. He is not responding to your messages. He is not responding to your emails. So in this kind of situation, it is something you will wait for 5 days, 10 days. By that time you don't have much time, because the container, say for example, the cargo is already reaching there, right? In this case, my friends, you know that the buyer is not going to receive your cargo, which means this cargo is now your problem. It is going to be you who have to solve this, right? So in this kind of a scenario is where you face a payment default. At least in this case, my friends, it is still better, I would say. Why? Because you still have the cargo in your control. So next immediate process is to talk to somebody, talk to another buyer in that same country, explain the situation very truthfully, because a lot of buyers who are serious in this trade, who are in this trade from very long years, they will always come and help you out actually. And also you might definitely be giving might be a good discount or something, so they would also want to take an advantage of that good price if the cargo is good quality, right? So customer is not available, absconding, not picking up, so you have your container still under your control, you can sell this off. The second case that you might face is that there is a customer who has made continuous ship orders to you. You might have shipped the first batch, say 5 containers in a lot, or say 1 containers or 2 containers in a lot, or say 10 containers in your lot. If you have already sent the cargo, you have got the payment, you have then surrendered, and the follow-on shipment has gone, right? But the follow-on shipment, the customer is trying to do the same thing, right? Well, in this case again it's the same thing. The situation is the same, though you might have built some kind of comfort level with the customer, though you now think that this customer better or something, you might think that let me surrender the BL and and take the payment, say 1 day, 2 days later, which your buyer might say, which is risky, my friends. I would suggest not to go for this, right? The third and the most dangerous payment default that you will face, which I had faced, my friends, in 2017, is that there was a customer in Singapore to whom I did shipment, and that shipment was worth about 42 lakhs. It was Sona Masuri rice which I shipped, but it was a credit transaction. I decided to do a credit transaction. Why did I decide to do a credit transaction? Because I checked for ECGC cover on this particular buyer. At that time, the ECGC cover was available. I took ECGC cover on this particular buyer. I took ECGC coverage for a particular value, that at that time it was 1 crore, which is ECGC limits that I took, and I was making shipments to this buyer, right? So initially the payments from day one, the payment terms discussed was credit, which is DA payment, which means you send the shipment, you release the cargo, you surrender the BL, and the buyer pays in 30 days. So initially the payment used to come, and later the problems started, and finally there was about 42 lakhs rupees that was stuck, and which was not coming, and you face the same kind of pattern. The buyer will start avoiding your calls, not replying to your messages, and then finally the buyer absconds. So in this case, because I had ECGC, I approached EC, because in this, there's one more point, my friends, is that it is in human nature that we actually think that नहीं थोड़ा रुक जाते हैं, थोड़ा रुक जाते हैं, might be वो बोल रहा है कि अगले हफ्ता करेगा, let's wait for next week, the payment will come, let's wait for another week, the payment will come. So it took about 2 months, the buyer kept convincing, and then the buyer is gone, is not available anymore, right? So normally you kind of wait and the payment never comes, so you already wasted 2 months actually in time, right? And then you go for ECGC cover, a claim saying that this is the particular buyer who is not paying, I have taken ECGC cover, I want to file for a claim. And then from then on, ECGC will do its own due diligence to understand what has happened. They will try to connect with the buyer and things like that. And then finally, for them again, it took another 2 months, and finally I got my payment, which was 90% of the outstanding. It was good to lose 10% and still get the 90% of the payment, which otherwise wouldn't have come at all, right? So what do you do? First of all, credit transactions not advisable at all, even if he's your best friend. In exports, where the seller is in a different country, the buyer is in a different country, and you don't have control over the goods and over the market, right? In domestic market, there is a lot of ways that you can reach to the customer, as early as possible, and it's very much controllable. But in exports, what if your shipment is to USA, for example, right? It's not even actually countries like Singapore, Dubai, you can at least reach very faster, right? Even if it is USA, I once remember an executive from ECGC, mentioning me that they get claims for buyers in US also. So we all know that. I have also told in the past that some countries belong to A1 categories, right? Like USA, few more major countries in Europe, like UK, countries like UAE, Singapore, Australia, all these come under A1 category. But it does not mean that payment defaults don't happen from buyers from these countries. It does happen. So ECGC was mentioning me that they do get a lot of claims for buyers from US also, right? So the third and the most dangerous kind of a payment default is this, where you have given the cargo but you do not have control. You do not know whether the buyer is really going to make the payment or not. And in today's scenario, my friends, in the situation of COVID, where it is difficult to take a flight, it is difficult to get a visa, there is no air travel, very limited, so it becomes even a bigger problem. So credit is a no-no. But a lot of shipments which was earlier agreed as CAD or DP, where the buyer was supposed to pay on documents, which means you had to actually first receive your payment and then surrender BL. Actually, lot of payments like this at the last moment gets converted. So a buyer might ask you that surrender the BL today, I'm going to pay tomorrow. So surrender the BL today. Today's Friday, I'm going to make the payment first thing on Monday. So these kind of situations happens that because cash against documents, or if any other DP terms or any other LC terms, it says that you have to make payment first and then release documents. Because earlier majority of the transactions used to happen through bank, which means you give the documents to the bank, your bank sends it to the customer's bank. There is no possibility of customer asking for the documents first before making the payment, because it has come through the bank, so they have to make the payment first, right? But in this today's scenario, it's more of payment first and then you surrender the BL with the shipping line, because a lot of couriers and banks, it does not work faster, right? So at the last moment, the buyer might ask you to make the surrender first and then he will pay, which is a very risky situation. You agreed for CAD terms, you agreed for DP, or you agreed for payment first and BL surrender later, but at the last moment the buyer asks you to kind of surrender and I will pay you the next day. So this is the situation that you have to avoid, my friends. So basically 3 types of scenario is what I have kind of tried to share, my friends. One was my experience, which was a credit term, it was a credit transaction itself. But then what I did was I made sure I had an ECGC. And you don't have to always rely on ECGC. There are a lot of other private companies as well. Like I think Tata AIG also has trade risk cover insurance. And there is a company called MNS Credit Management System. There is a company called COFACE Management System. COFACE is COFACE, COFACE Management Systems, where they have offices in India and other countries. So you can talk to private players as well. Remember that when you are taking insurance on a particular buyer, then that means you will have to pay a premium, insurance premium you have to pay a cover for that cover. You have to pay insurance premium. So it is going to cost you about 0.23% of the shipment value to somewhere between 0.5% of the shipment value. So this will cover your risks, right? So this is what it is, friends. So this is the scenarios that you might face, and these are a few things. Now, if you have already given your shipment on credit, you cannot get your cargo back. Earlier the best thing was people used to travel, try to meet the person, try to find the person, meet the person, try to pressurize the person and get the payment. But today that is not possible, right? So it is best to avoid credit transactions, or it is best to use ECGC insurance, ECGC cover to credit transactions like this, right? So this is it for today, friends. But at the end I want to just add one last part into this, which is we should not think that it is always the customer who is at fault. Here the customer is not the villain. Here our judgment becomes a problem, right? Might be there are a lot of good customers, and there are a lot of good customers. I have seen a lot of good customers. Once I shared my this default experience with one of my other customer, and and he wanted to place an order with me, and he asked me, Dhanraj, तुम्हारे पास पैसा है क्या? Should I send you money to prepare the shipment? So there are buyers like that who will not care if they like you, if they see you that you are genuine, if they see you, if they trust you, and if they are good, they have the money, they will tell you, okay, I'm going to send you the money, just prepare the shipment and send it to me, just please maintain the quality and everything. There are buyers like this also, friends. So let's not make an importer a villain here. There are a lot of very, very good customers. So we at PWIP, my friends, don't miss to check us out on our WhatsApp services, our Insta, YouTube, Facebook page. We have come up with a few services where you can get Miller contacts, importer contacts, and a lot of things like that, my friends. So this is it for today. There are a lot of good importers out in the market. So please, all that you need to do is make a proper research, find out and select the buyer, do some research on the buyer, and then start small and gradually increase your limits with the buyer, right? Well, I am here to take any questions if there is. I think somebody asked me, can you help in garment exports? Well, here on PWIP Exim on Instagram, we focus on exports as a topic. But my friends, right now we are actually testing and piloting for rice as a category. So if it is about rice, my friends, we can help you with rice prices, rice miller contacts, rice importer contacts, how to really export. But if you want to do a in general how exports is done, how does shipping documents like BL, packing list, invoice, fumigation, phytosanitary, certificate of origin, marine insurance, quality certificate, all these certificates, how does it look like? Do you want a sample? Then you have it, you can get it from our export course. But otherwise, my friends, we have an export course for general export that you can understand, right? So I think this is it for today, my friends. I'll see you next week, Wednesday. I hope I'm able to add some value into your learnings, my friends. Thank you so much. See you. Bye.